Hey everyone, thanks for joining us for this in-depth summary and review of some seriously impressive startup founders. We've got a mountain of advice to sift through.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Don't worry, we've got an expert here who can help us connect the dots and see the bigger picture.
It's amazing how often these founders, even though they're from completely different industries, all seem to hit on the same core principles for success.
Okay, so let's jump right in. The first thing that really struck me was this emphasis on knowing yourself. It sounds so simple, right?
Yeah,
But these founders really stress the importance of playing to your strengths.
absolutely. It's all about identifying what you're uniquely good at, that unfair advantage that sets you apart. You know? What's your superpower? What are you truly passionate about? The most successful founders I've seen, they build their entire businesses around those core strengths.
Like Mark Echo built a billion-dollar brand with Echo and Melted because he was all about his art, his graffiti-inspired style. He didn't try to be something he wasn't.
Exactly. And that authenticity is crucial because, let's face it, building a successful startup is tough.
Hmm.
You're going to face challenges, setbacks, moments where you just want to throw in the towel. But if you're deeply passionate about what you're doing, if you're drawing on your unique strengths, you're much more likely to persevere.
That totally makes sense. But knowing yourself isn't enough,
Yeah.
right? These founders also talk about the importance of being ruthlessly focused.
That's right. It's about identifying that one big idea and sticking to it, even when you're tempted by all sorts of shiny new
Oh,
opportunities.
yeah.
It's like you're in a candy store, but you can only pick one piece.
Right.
And you know it's the best piece for you.
Which is so hard.
I know, right?
But I guess that's where discipline comes in, right? Choosing that one path and seeing it through it, even when it gets tough.
Exactly. And it takes a certain level of confidence to resist that temptation to diversify too early.
Yeah.
Think about someone like Elon Musk. He's laser focused on his vision of the future, and that's what's led to some pretty incredible breakthroughs with Tesla and SpaceX.
Yeah. Musk is all about solving huge problems, like figuring out how to make humanity a multi-planetary species. It's almost like a heroic quest. He's definitely got that focus down. Okay, so know yourself, focus ruthlessly, but how do you find that one big idea in the first place?
Well, a lot of these founders talk about the importance of identifying a major pain point in the market, something people are really struggling with.
Right, like a problem that's so frustrating, people are practically begging for a solution.
Precisely. And that solution needs to be significantly better than anything else out there. Ben Horowitz talks about being 10x better. That's the kind of impact you need to aim for.
Okay, so find a problem that people are desperate to solve. Create a solution that's mind-blowingly better than anything else out there. Now we're talking.
It's a great starting point for sure. And we see this pattern play out time and again in the stories of successful startups. Look at iRobot, for example. They had all sorts of ventures. But it wasn't until they created the Roomba, a robot that solves the universally hated chore of vacuuming, that they really hit it big.
Because seriously, who enjoys vacuuming? The Roomba was such a brilliant solution to a pain point that everyone could relate to. And it wasn't just a slightly better vacuum cleaner. It was a completely different approach.
Exactly. And it wasn't their first attempt either. They had to experiment and pivot several times before they found that winning formula. It's a reminder that finding the right problem to solve can sometimes take a few tries.
That reminds me of Matt Blumberg's story with Return Path. They started out doing all sorts of things with email, but it wasn't until they zeroed in on the pain point of email deliverability that they really found their niche.
They were good at other things, but they realized that solving that one specific problem was where their true strength lay. And that's where they focused their energy. They even sold off parts of their business to double down on what they excelled at.
Okay, I'm seeing a theme here.
hmm
Identify the pain point, focus on the solution, and be undeniably better than the competition. But even with all of that, you can't build a company alone, can you?
You're absolutely right, and that's where building a great team comes in. As these founders emphasize, it's not just about assembling a group of talented individuals, it's about creating a team that can effectively execute on your vision.
It's like what Steve Case said about building an industry, not just a company. He had this grand vision for AOL and the internet, and he knew he couldn't do it alone.
Exactly. And that kind of ambitious vision requires more than just individual brilliance. You need a cohesive team that shares your values and can work together seamlessly toward a common goal.
Like a well-oiled machine where everyone knows their role and contributes to the overall success of the operation.
I like that analogy. And speaking of teams, I was fascinated by Charles Best's story about launching DonorsChoose.org. He used his mom's pear tort to attract teachers to the website, then anonymously funded those first projects himself. Talk about a hustle.
It's such a great example of resourcefulness and going the extra mile to build momentum early on. Those initial successes can be so valuable for attracting support and proving that your idea has legs.
Absolutely. And it ties into another point that came up again and again, the importance of not just creating a cheap product, but a truly exceptional one. Take Sarah Blakely, for example. When she started Spanx, she didn't focus on using the cheapest materials possible. She focused on quality and comfort.
Yeah, and it paid off big time. Spanx is practically a household name now. It's a reminder that sometimes customers are willing to pay a premium for a product that genuinely solves their problems and exceeds their expectations.
It's a testament to the power of focusing on value over simply being the cheapest option.
You really hit on something there. So we've got the team, the problem, the 10x solution. But let's be honest, building a startup isn't always smooth sailing. These founders must face some serious challenges along the way.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
What do they have to say about overcoming those inevitable bumps in the road?
One recurring theme was the importance of drawing on your personal values and experiences to navigate those difficult times. It's about authenticity and staying true to yourself even when things get tough.
Like how those personal values actually shape their vision for the company.
Exactly. It's about building a company that reflects your core beliefs and that you can feel genuinely proud of.
Scott Harrison, the founder of Charity Water, is a great example of this. He had this incredible transformation after witnessing poverty firsthand, and it led him to create a charity that's had a huge impact on the world.
His story is incredibly inspiring. It shows how aligning your personal values with your business decisions can lead to both personal fulfillment and a truly meaningful impact on the world.
So it's not just about making money, it's about making a difference.
Precisely. And that sense of purpose can be a powerful motivator, especially when you're facing challenges.
That also makes you more resilient in the face of setbacks. If you believe in what you're doing, you're more likely to push through those tough times.
Absolutely. And it attracts like-minded people to your team.
Like Jeffrey Hollander, with his unwavering commitment to sustainability at Seventh Generation. He was so passionate about it, and that passion resonated with customers.
Yes. And it helps Seventh Generation become a leader in the sustainable products market. But it's also interesting to note that sometimes that unwavering commitment can lead to conflict.
You're talking about how he was ultimately dismissed from the company.
Right. It's a reminder that even when your values are strong, navigating the complexities of a growing business can be incredibly challenging. There can be difficult decisions and compromises along the way.
Okay, so values are important, but so is adaptability, right?
Yeah.
These founders must have had to change course along the way. What did they have to say about that?
It's fascinating how many of them emphasized the importance of experimentation and being willing to adjust your approach based on what you learn along the way.
Because as they say, no plan survives first contact with the enemy, which in this case is the market. You have to be prepared to pivot, to iterate, to learn from your mistakes.
Exactly. And sometimes that means going against conventional wisdom. Eileen Gittins, the founder of Blurb, even said to ignore your board of directors.
Wait, really? Ignore your board of directors. That's pretty bold advice.
Yeah.
Of course, she meant that in the context of prioritizing your customers' needs above simply appeasing investors.
Which makes sense. Ultimately, your customers are the ones who will determine your success. They're the ones you need to keep happy.
Precisely. And Gittins' point highlights the importance of staying connected to your customers, being responsive to their feedback, and being willing to adapt based on what you learn.
And to be open to experimenting, like Tony Hsieh and Zappos. Their journey was full of near disasters and brilliant adaptations. Remember that story about the semi-truck overturning with 20% of their inventory? You can't make this stuff up.
It's a testament to their resilience and their ability to think on their feet. They didn't let setbacks derail them. Instead, they found creative solutions and kept moving forward.
Hsieh also champions passion over profits, which aligns perfectly with what we were talking about earlier.
Absolutely. It's about finding that sweet spot where your passion aligns with a real market need and being willing to adapt and evolve as you go.
And being open to data-driven adaptation, like Ben Horowitz's philosophy of A/B testing everything, even down to the envelopes they were mailing out. It's like he's constantly running experiments to optimize every single aspect of the business.
It's a very systematic approach to learning and improvement. He's not afraid to make mistakes as long as he can learn from them.
Okay, I'm starting to see a clear path here.
Yeah.
Know yourself, find that big idea, build a great team, stay true to your values, and be adaptable. But how do you maintain that momentum? How do you keep the team motivated and moving in the right direction?
That's where leadership comes in. And one of the more surprising pieces of advice that came up was the importance of knowing when to let people go.
Whoa, Okay, that took a turn.
Uh,
But I guess it's inevitable sometimes. You can't build a great company with a team full of underperformers.
exactly. And multiple founders talked about how delaying those tough decisions can actually do more harm than good. It can damage team morale and hinder the company's progress.
So it's like ripping off a Band-Aid. Painful in the short term, but ultimately better for everyone involved.
Precisely. And it's not just about letting people go, it's also about having a flawless onboarding process to make sure you're attracting and retaining top talent from the very beginning.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like setting the stage for success right out of the gate. You want to create an environment where people feel valued, empowered, and excited to contribute their best work.
Absolutely. It's about fostering a culture of excellence, clear communication, and making sure everyone is aligned with the company's vision and values.
And speaking of clear communication, didn't Matt Blumberg talk about how he's constantly talking through his vision, writing it down, and even giving interviews just to get those ideas flowing and keep his team in the loop?
That's right. He believes that articulating your vision, even if it's still evolving, helps to clarify your thinking and keeps everyone on the same page. It's about creating a culture of open dialogue where everyone feels heard and understood.
Because when people feel like they're part of something bigger, they're more likely to be invested in its success.
Absolutely. And it fosters a sense of ownership and accountability. It's not just about the founder's vision, it's about creating a shared vision that everyone can rally behind.
This is making me think about my own work and how I can improve my communication with my team. There's always room for improvement.
For sure.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about the importance of knowing yourself, finding that big idea, building a great team, staying true to your values, and being adaptable. But is there anything else these founders highlighted as essential for success?
One thing that came up repeatedly was the importance of truly understanding your market and your customers.
Right, like doing your research and figuring out who you're trying to reach.
Exactly. And it's about more than just demographics. It's about understanding their needs, their pain points, their motivations, and their aspirations.
And constantly testing your assumptions. Charles Best said it best. No business plan survives first contact with customers.
Exactly. You have to be willing to adapt your approach based on real-world feedback, even if it means scrapping your initial plan.
Like what Mitch Free said about cutting your own road and not getting caught up in what everyone else is doing. Find your own path, and don't be afraid to be different.
Precisely. It's about being innovative and finding creative solutions that truly meet your customers' needs, even if those solutions haven't been tried before.
Okay, so understand your market, be willing to adapt,
Yeah.
but how do you get your product or service out there?
Mm.
What did these founders have to say about marketing and sales?
There were some really interesting insights about that. Some emphasized the importance of building a strong brand, while others focused on more tactical strategies like what's known as guerrilla marketing.
Guerrilla marketing, what is that exactly?
It's about finding unconventional, often low-cost ways to reach your target audience. Think creative stunts, viral campaigns, anything that generates buzz and gets people talking.
Okay, that sounds fun. Like a flash mob promoting a new app,
Yeah.
or create a really eye-catching sticker campaign.
Exactly. It's about being memorable and standing out from the competition, especially when you don't have a huge marketing budget.
And being willing to take risks, like Sarah Blakely with her Spanx pitch. She was constantly trying out new material and figuring out what worked best for different audiences. It's like she treated every pitch as a learning opportunity.
Which is a great mindset to have. It's about being willing to experiment, to put yourself out there, and to not be afraid to fail.
Speaking of failure, how do you bounce back from those inevitable setbacks? These founders must have had their fair share of challenges. What kept them going?
It's remarkable how many of them talk about the importance of resilience and determination. They faced setbacks, they made mistakes, but they never gave up.
Like Tony Hsieh and that whole warehouse fiasco where they lost a fifth of their inventory? They could have easily thrown in the towel, but instead they just rolled with it and figured out a way to move forward.
Exactly. They didn't let setbacks define them. Instead, they used those experiences as opportunities to learn, adapt, and become even stronger.
It's like what Mark Echo said about embracing naivete. Sometimes that youthful optimism and fearlessness can be a real asset when you're building something new.
It can help you push through those tough times and see possibilities where others might see only obstacles.
And it connects back to that earlier point about passion. If you truly believe in what you're doing, you're more likely to persevere when things get tough.
Absolutely. And that passion can be contagious. It can inspire your team, your customers, and even your investors.
So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe in your vision, others are more likely to believe in it too.
Exactly. And that shared belief can be incredibly powerful.
This makes me think about how important it is to find work that you're truly passionate about something, you can really throw yourself into.
It's definitely a key takeaway. These founder stories really highlight the importance of aligning your work with your values and passions. It's not just about finding any job, it's about finding work that gives you a sense of purpose and fulfillment.
And being willing to take risks, even if it means facing those inevitable setbacks along the way.
Absolutely. Entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart, but as these founders have shown, the rewards can be incredible, not just financially, but in terms of the impact you can have on the world.
Okay, we've talked about market research, marketing sales resilience, but is there anything else we should keep in mind as we think about our own entrepreneurial journeys?
One thing that stood out to me was the importance of seeking out mentors and advisors.
People who can offer guidance and support along the way.
Exactly. These founders all had people they could turn to for advice, whether it was a formal board of directors or an informal network of trusted advisors.
It's like having a team of coaches in your corner, cheering you on and helping you strategize.
Precisely. They can help you navigate challenges, celebrate victories, and stay focused on your goals.
Like Steve Blank's advice about building boards that break things. He emphasizes the importance of having people who challenge you, not just cheer you on.
Yes. You need people who will offer honest feedback, even if it's not what you want to hear, because sometimes you need that outside perspective to help you see things more clearly.
And it's not just about seeking out mentors, it's also about being a mentor yourself. Adeo Resi, the founder of the Funded Com and the Founder Institute, is all about paying it forward and helping other entrepreneurs succeed.
It's a great example of creating a positive cycle of support and innovation within the startup community. And, it's not just about the startup community. These insights apply to all sorts of careers and life paths.
Absolutely. The principles of knowing yourself, focusing on your goals, building strong relationships, and being adaptable are valuable in any field.
It all comes down to action, doesn't it? It's inspiring to hear these stories, but it's up to each of us to take what we've learned and actually apply it.
I completely agree. So as we wrap up this discussion of startup wisdom, what are some actionable steps listeners can take right now?
Well, one of the most important things these founders emphasized is taking that first step. It doesn't have to be a huge leap. It can be something small, like identifying a problem you're passionate about solving.
Right, like that itch. You just can't scratch something that bugs you and you think, there has to be a better way.
Exactly. Write it down. Start brainstorming solutions. Talk to potential customers. Even if you don't have all the answers yet, taking that initial step can set you on the path to creating something amazing.
And remember, it's okay to fail. In fact, many of these founders embraced failure as a necessary part of the learning process.
That's right. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the journey. It's an opportunity to learn, adjust, and come back stronger. As long as you're learning from your mistakes, you're moving in the right direction.
And don't forget about the importance of building a strong network. Surround yourself with people who support your vision, who can offer guidance, and who will challenge you to be your best.
Absolutely. Whether it's mentors, advisors, or fellow entrepreneurs, having a strong network can make all the difference. These relationships can provide invaluable support advice and even funding opportunities.
And don't underestimate the power of community. Connect with other entrepreneurs online and in person, attend industry events, join mastermind groups. The more you connect with like-minded individuals, the more you'll learn and grow.
I couldn't agree more. The startup ecosystem thrives on collaboration and shared learning. Don't be afraid to reach out, ask questions, and share your own experiences. You never know who you might meet or what opportunities might arise.
So to recap, take that first step. Embrace failure as a learning opportunity, build a strong network, and connect with the entrepreneurial community. Those are some pretty solid takeaways.
They are indeed. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, remember this. You don't have to do everything at once. Start with small, achievable goals and build momentum as you go.
And remember to celebrate your successes along the way, no matter how small they may seem. Every step forward is a victory worth celebrating.
That's such an important point. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and forget to acknowledge our progress. Take the time to celebrate your wins, big and small. It will help you stay motivated and energized for the journey ahead.
So as we bring this episode to a close, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought. The entrepreneurial journey is not always easy, but it's incredibly rewarding. It's about pursuing your passions, solving problems, and making a difference in the world.
And it's about constantly learning, growing, and pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone. If you're willing to put in the work, embrace the challenges, and never stop learning, the possibilities are truly endless.
And remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg. If you're eager to dive deeper into the world of startups and entrepreneurship, we've got you covered.
Yeah, we've only scratched the surface of these founders' stories and the lessons they've learned along the way.
Exactly. There's so much more to explore, so many more insights to uncover. That's why we encourage you to check out Audiobooks Quiver on YouTube.
We've got tons of in-depth book summaries and reviews covering all sorts of fascinating topics.
From business and finance to personal development and self-improvement, we break down complex ideas into bite-sized pieces, just like we did today.
So if you're looking for a shortcut to becoming well-informed, a way to learn from the best without spending hours reading, you've come to the right place.
Hit that subscribe button on Audiobooks Quiver and join our community of lifelong learners. We're constantly adding new content, so you'll always have something to pique your curiosity.
And while you're there, be sure to leave a comment letting us know what resonated with you from today's discussion. Which piece of advice are you going to put into action? What's your biggest takeaway?
We love hearing from our listeners and learning from your experiences. After all, the journey of entrepreneurship is all about sharing ideas, supporting each other, and growing together.
So keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving to make your mark on the world. We're excited to see what you achieve.
Thanks for tuning into this in-depth summary and review. Until next time.